Have you ever wondered where the problems in the world today would exist if we had deeper connection to ourselves, others, and the environment and acted from that place? Welcome to the Conscious Action Podcast with your host, Brian Berneman, who believe that connection is the key to taking conscious action as individuals and creating a better world. We are here to raise awareness and inspire meaningful action by sharing stories, knowledge, and conversations with thought leaders and change makers. From sustainability to well-being and everything related to conscious living, our mission is to empower you to be the change that you want to see in the world.
Welcome to a new episode of the Conscious Action Podcast. I am Brian Berneman, your host, and for this episode, I wanted to explore more around family constellations and the importance of healing generational patterns, generational trauma, and to be able to bring a different way into our lives and the lives of our families. So there is a lot of people that know family constellations. There's a lot of people that don't know family constellations. Sometimes we can call it also systemic constellations or systemic family constellations. One of the main things that I like to share about family constellations is how many of us carry unseen patterns and entanglements from our family members, our ancestors, and the systems that we belong to. There is so much that we are carrying that we don't know. I remember a lot of times how at one moment I felt that I had just dropped a 50-kilo bag out of my back that I didn't know that I was carrying. And I remember that weight and how it came off my shoulder. So it is something that I know personally and why I love sharing this work so much. There is trauma in all of our lives. I like to remind us that trauma is not just traumatic event. Trauma refers to every single moment, instance that we weren't able to be with or process the experience that we were experiencing. So we all have different mechanisms of survival based on trauma, and a lot of times we are unable in the moment to process something. That is what creates an energy blockage, or in our words, trauma. So trauma can be from something huge, a traumatic event, or it can be from something super small. So as an example, a lot of times, if I cried as a baby and I was trying to get my parents' attention or my caregiver's attention and they didn't pick me up, that could potentially be something that I carry for the rest of my life. So there is something that is important to understand, that if we all experience this, imagine the millions of people that came before you and how all of those stories, all of those lives, how they also experience a lot of trauma blockages, things that they weren't able to process, and how that remains in the field of the system. There is something that is really powerful in my experience, that is that when we're able to heal the past from the present, we free ourselves and the future generations and the past generations from that trauma, from that experience. So whenever we're doing healing work that is systemic, it can have such a profound effect on everyone. So family constellations, in a sense, it's a therapeutic approach that reveals the hidden family dynamics and the systemic entanglements. It is something that was systematized by Bert Hellinger in Germany, and ever since then it's been called family constellations, and it's practiced all around the world. And when we understand that, each of us, whether we know them or not, we all come from two people. Those two people come from two people. So there's two people behind us, 4 behind them, 8 behind them, 16, so on and so on and so on. In very few generations, there's thousands of people. So that is how we create so much entanglement across generations. We belong to a wide family system, and when the flow of love is balanced, when there is, more harmony, the systems functions harmoniously. When things are aligned, energy just flows. But when someone is excluded, when someone is tied up in another's, burdens or traumas, that's what we call that entanglement. Because whether we know it or not, and I know from having worked with like thousands of people on this, we don't know that we're carrying these things. We are entangled without being able to notice that. So this matters because these unseen dynamics can show up in so many different ways. I see this a lot of times with people that come to see me with depression, addiction, with recurring relationship issues, with a feeling of being stuck, with financial issues, with work-related issues, with actual family issues. There's so many reasons why people see me or they are able to work with family constellations. And this is important because a lot of the times we don't even realize. So what we're doing when we're working with family constellations is we are bringing what's hidden into awareness, into the conscious space. We are in a sense shining a light on that which is hidden, or has been in the shadows, or has been under the rug. And in that way, transformation can happen. So through the years, I've worked with so many people, both in group settings or one-on-one, in person, online. It doesn't matter because this work happens in the field. And in the field, it doesn't matter where we are. So it's one of the things that fascinates me about this work, that can be done anywhere. Because it's also something that is across all of us. When we are able to tap into the field of energy, then we're able to feel this. This is something that every single time that I'm working with people and they are sometimes surprised of what they are feeling, I usually tell them we are accessing the energy field of the system. It's not just a psychological thing. It's not something that, as I thought the first time that I explored this, that was psychodrama. We are actually accessing information from the field. And we represent, or sometimes people call it resonate, these hidden energies so that we're able to bring them into the space. We are able to then potentially transform what has been happening. I see with so many people through the years how, their stress levels have changed, or their tendencies around addictions changed, or physical illnesses changed. There's a lot of people that their relationships changed or their financial status changed a lot. When we find that place of more balance on a system, each individual can be freer to live their potential. And there's a couple of principles that are important when we are talking about systemic constellations, and one of them is around belonging. We all belong to these systems. Now, a lot of times that doesn't happen. A lot of times we are excluded, or there's beings that have been excluded. That creates challenges because the system is not flowing or it's not balanced when there's people that are excluded, consciously or unconsciously. Whether someone is, removed completely from the family, physically or not, a lot of people can be excluded. Then there's the other, which is important, which is the order. I come after my parents, they come after my grandparents. That doesn't mean that those that came before are better. That just means that they just came before us. That is it. There's a lot of times that I see this because of life circumstances. The children had to parent their parents. And that creates an imbalance in roles. The role of the parent is to be the parent, the role of the children is to be the children. The role of the children is not to be the parent of the parents. And a lot of times when parents were missing their parents because of life circumstances, the children end up taking that place. So those things change a lot. I remember there was a fascinating case that this woman wanted to work on a challenge that she was having with her partner. And when we stepped into the constellation, I was able to tap into the energy field and I started to invite different people to come in to represent different people, different energies. And during that, what came was that part of her challenges with her partner had to do with her relationship with her parents. As we were exploring that, she mentioned that she hadn't been in contact at all with her parents for over 10 years. So we kept on doing the constellation work, things started to shift, feelings were felt, and towards the end there was something that shifted, and great. The following day, she gives me a call and she tells me, "You won't believe this. My dad called me. After 10 years of no communication, the day after she healed an energy that belonged to her parents, her father called her." And things like that have happened so many times that I'm not surprised anymore. I'm still amazed that this happens, but I'm not surprised. There's so many times that things like this happen, or things that are showing up during constellation, and someone is like, wow, this person or that is exactly like my dad or my mom or my brother or my sister or whoever it is that they are representing. And that is amazing. A lot of times for me, keeps on being amazing. There is such a power in this work that when we're able to bring those things that we didn't know that we've been carrying into the light, into the space, sometimes that's all that is needed. Sometimes there needs more dynamics or more work in order to be felt, in order to be verbalized, different things, but just doing that can start to shift so much. When we're able to feel in the body all of those things, it's so important. And I keep on reminding myself and everyone else that even when we are part of the constellation of someone else, we are working on our own constellation. We're working on healing our own life, our own systems. Family constellations, there are so many of my clients that whenever they are recommending to someone else, they say it is easier to experience it than to explain. This is something that I have, known to be true. It is much more easy to understand experientially the power of family constellations. But hopefully with all of this that I've been explaining, there's some understanding. And, we can do certain things just by ourselves. Even if we are not trained in this modality, even if we don't know much, we can actually do things. So the first thing that we can do is to reflect on our family system. You know, who is part of it, who's present, who's missing, what are the different roles that people have. Just reflecting on that, being able to pay attention, noticing perhaps also recurring themes. Are there any patterns that you notice in your family through the generations or that you have heard of? You know, perhaps there's patterns of addiction to alcohol or drugs, or perhaps there's everyone is, getting divorced, or they are the same type of illness, or there's the same type of emotional suppression or emotional unavailability. There is, a pattern of perhaps leaving home or abandoning children. This is just about paying attention to what are the different patterns or the recurrent themes. If you want, you can also, and this helps for some people, write down your family map, grab the information that you know or ask, make that family tree. If you know perhaps different milestones or different highlights of people's lives, when they were born, where they died, if they had to escape from a war or if they were part of the war, if they went through a famine, if they had to migrate, just looking at all of the disruptions to the flow of love and connection that has actually happened in your family. Then we can create, in a sense, that dialogue with our system. We can, in meditation, perhaps, we could ask our ancestors something. We could ask them, like, if you could speak to that ancestor that perhaps feels unseen, what would they say? What do they need to know? What haven't you shared or said to someone? Or what do you wish that someone would say to you? Finding a dialogue, even if it's made up, even if it doesn't exist, even if it's not with the actual people, that could be huge. And of course, join a constellation healing circle. Whether it is an individual session, whether it is a group session, whether it is that you're ready for working on your specific topics or to witness someone else's work, allow that to be part of your life. I suggest everyone, I hope that every single person in this world does this work. It is so important. It doesn't matter if it's with me. This is so healing for ourselves and for our family system. Because we need to change things. We need to understand that, as I said at the beginning, we're carrying things that don't belong to us. And that is preventing us from living our lives and from being well and from living our full potential. And in this work, we are not trying to blame anyone that came before us. What we're trying to do is just to recognize, to honor, and to heal. A lot of times, forgiveness is something that I shared a lot during this work, and sometimes the word forgiveness can be too much, or it can be something that we cannot really understand when someone hurt us. But it's about more than the forgiveness. It's about the being able to heal and let go of that which we have been carrying that no longer serves us. For anyone that is interested, I always recommend to watch the Netflix show Another Self. It's a Turkish show. It shows quite well what Family Constellation is. There's some books that are really interesting. There's a book, It Didn't Start With You, that as well is a really good book. And it is important to understand that, when you heal one branch of the tree, the whole tree gets stronger. Its roots get stronger and it starts to change. So, we are embedded and we are part and entangled in this multi-generational system. Millions of people behind us. And if we think ahead as well, think of all of the stories, all of the dreams, all of the love, all of the joy, all of the pain, all of the sadness, all of the suffering, all of it, that every single person that belongs to the systems that we belong to went through. When we understand that a lot of times what is holding us back in this life is unresolved family trauma. That is important. I remember one client that she came to explore about her work because it wasn't flowing, it wasn't, getting enough clients, it wasn't actually working. And when we started to work on that, as part of the work, what came up was that when she was a child, she was abused. She didn't remember. She had completely repressed this. And we were able to heal this and forgive the person that did this to her and make everyone part of the system once more. Then her business started to actually flow. So it's really interesting a lot of times, even things that don't seem to be related, how they are related. And through awareness, through representation, through healing, we can shift the system. We can shift everything and everyone. And this benefits, it has a ripple effect that is amazing. It can ripple in our lives, in our relationships, in those in our family, in those that are around us, in the future generations. The ripple effect is amazing. So I invite you, as always, to just reflect. What resonated with you? What did you hear? Did you already know about family constellations? Have you experienced it? I would love to know. As always, leave a comment, whatever it is that you're finding this episode, and let me know. What did you hear? What is your experience? This is important. Keep on sharing this. Keep on doing this work for yourself. As I mentioned, if you wanted to explore this further with me, reach out. I'll keep on exploring for yourself. And may the healing of your lineage be the gift to your descendants, allowing yourself to be the filter that is going to change things for everyone, allowing everything to be different from now on, choosing something different for yourself and for the ones that come next. As always, thank you for being here. Till the next time, bye!
What did you like the most about this episode? Take a moment to think about what change you can make in your life today.
Share your conscious action on social media using #ConsciousAction and tagging @ConsciousActionNZ so we can celebrate your impact on the world and create a ripple effect.
One easy action we would love for you to take right now is to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast. This will help us get these messages out into the world and inspire more people to take conscious action in their own lives, contributing to the better world we hope for.